Imagine a person who spends their entire life mapping stars, yet never gets to gaze upon the real night sky. Inside the dim little room at Harvard Observatory, her magnifying glass glided across thousands of cold glass photographic plates. Her name was Henrietta Leavitt, known in her time as one of Harvard's human computers, earning a meager wage for every hour of work. Tonight, let the fire glow softly beside us, and settle into this quiet story to walk through the true life of hers. She gradually lost her hearing. In a male-dominated scientific world, she was like a transparent ghost, breathing alone in silence. Yet this woman who counted stars in quiet solitude handed humanity an incredibly precise ruler for measuring the cosmos. Without her, we might still never know how large the Milky Way truly is, nor realize galaxies lie far beyond our own. For a long time, her name was buried in the dust of history, fragile as a cicada's wing, yet weighty as an entire galaxy. The story begins in Boston in 1895, an era woven with coal smoke and the clatter of horse hooves. Young Henrietta Leavitt stood at the gates of Harvard Observatory, clutching her humble appointment letter tightly in her hand. She was not allowed to operate the giant telescope pointed deep into the starry sky, even though it was her deepest dream. She was assigned the role of a human computer, a tedious, underpaid position reserved solely for women. In a room piled high with astronomical glass plates, every curtain was drawn shut tight to maintain steady lighting. By this time, Henrietta's hearing had faded drastically, and the world around her turned into an endless silent pantomime. Lingering effects of illness left a constant strange ringing in her ears, like the distant echo of ocean tides. She chose to tune out the world entirely, pouring all her life force into the black and white shadows on those glass plates. These plates were captured by male astronomers on frigid observation nights. Women's job was to count every tiny dark dot by daylight. Each faint speck represented a star millions of light-years away, small and fragile upon the glass. Her salary was pitifully low, forcing her to endure the cold damp of the office, her fingers stiff from holding measuring rulers for hours on end. Yet she never complained. Amidst relentless monotony, she found a profound tranquility, a quiet communion with the creator of the universe. In the scientific community of that era, stars were seen as mere ornaments hung across the sky. No one knew their exact distance from Earth. Astronomers were like sailors lost in fog, able to see the light, yet clueless how far the distant shore lay. Henrietta was tasked with an extremely monotonous job, studying variable stars in the Magellanic Clouds. Variable stars, as the name suggests, are celestial bodies that brighten and dim periodically, much like a beating heart. Her daily work was comparing glass plates taken at different times, spotting subtle shifts in stellar brightness. It was mentally exhausting labor. Most people grew dizzy and even suffered nervous breakdowns after only a few days. But Henrietta immersed herself completely. Her silent world granted her a focus no ordinary person could possess. In stillness, she could hear the rhythm of those starlight specks, as if they whispered ancient cosmic codes through their shifting glow. To record data with greater accuracy, she created her own comparison method, filling thick notebooks with dense logarithmic formulas. In her eyes, every star was no longer a cold number, but a living being with its own unique breathing rhythm. Her superior, Professor Pickering, saw her only as a tireless machine, never imagining this machine held a brilliant mind of its own. Yet within endless mechanical repetition, Henrietta uncovered a law that would overturn humanity's understanding of the world. The brighter a variable star shines, the longer its period of dimming and brightening. This became the famous period-luminosity relation. For the first time, stars spoke to humanity, revealing their place in the universe. When her groundbreaking discovery took shape, Henrietta chose not to announce it rashly, carrying an air of breathtaking prudence and restraint. She knew all too well in this male-dominated field, any recklessness could erase her faint voice entirely. She retreated into deeper solitude, launching a thorough investigation and calculation of over 1,700 variable stars. As the years passed, her health declined rapidly. Stomach ailments and total deafness confined her to a reclusive, hermit-like life. Late into the night, all colleagues had left. Only the dim kerosene lamp in her small room stayed lit. She sat hunched over her desk, as if mending a vast, torn web of the Milky Way. She bore a grand, lonely truth. In that moment, she was the only person on Earth who knew the true scale of the universe. This loneliness brought her no fear, but a religious sense of sublimity. She felt she guarded the spark of cosmic truth for all mankind. In 1912, she finally published a brief paper, her name placed secondary to Professor Pickering's, drawing little attention at first. One line in that paper would later echo like thunder across time. By this method, we can measure not only brightness, but also cosmic distance. This meant the universe was no longer a flat backdrop. It gained depth, layers, and boundless scale. Yet this cosmic measuring rod brought her no fame or honor. She still earned merely 25 cents an hour, remaining obscure and unknown. Henrietta's discovery lit a beacon upon the dark ocean of the cosmos, even though she never strayed far from her own shore. Years later, a young man followed the light of this beacon to uncover the truth of the universe, Edwin Hubble. Using Henrietta's period luminosity relation, Hubble calculated the distance of the Andromeda Galaxy, proving it was not a nebula, but an entirely separate galaxy. In that instant, the universe expanded from a small room to unimaginable vastness. Yet as these glorious breakthroughs unfolded, Henrietta endured the darkest days of her life. Years of overwork and fragile health led to cancer, with waves of pain tormenting her day and night. She could no longer hold a magnifying glass, nor sit at her desk. She lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. Praise for her work began to spread, but in an era without the internet, those accolades reached her far too late and far too faint. Ironically, hidden behind the scenes for so long, many assumed Leavitt was a man's name. Her footprint in this world was so faint, a gentle breeze seemed enough to erase every trace of her existence. But she cared not. On her final nights, she likely replayed the pulsing rhythm of variable stars in her mind. That rhythm was eternal, transcending physical pain and the prejudice of her time. On a winter night in 1921, Henrietta Swan Leavitt passed away quietly at her home in Massachusetts, aged only 53. Her funeral was simple and underattended, mostly filled with her lonely female colleagues from the observatory. She never lived to see Hubble confirm the theory of cosmic expansion, never witnessing how far her measuring rod could reach into the stars. Years later, when the Nobel Committee sought to nominate her, they found the great scientist had long since passed away. Since the Nobel Prize is not awarded posthumously, she missed humanity's highest honor once again. For decades afterward, textbooks praised Hubble and Pickering, yet gave scant mention to this deaf female pioneer. But take a long enough view of time, and we see all human exploration of the cosmos rests upon her weary eyes. She was the quiet craftsman who laid the foundation. When towering buildings rise bright with lights, no one remembers the silent stones buried deep below. Yet the stars remember. In the quiet solitude of the early 20th century, one woman breathed in rhythm with them through countless long nights. An unbreakable pact spanned across time and space. The stars gave their light, and she gave her entire life in loyalty. Now, when we look up at the night sky once more, the stars still shine and pulse steadily. They never alter their rhythm for human understanding, yet thanks to Henrietta Leavitt, they are no longer unreachable. Every scholar studying cosmic expansion, every explorer seeking black holes, owes her a belated gratitude deep in their soul. Her life teaches us that a great spirit needs no noisy stage, nor even perfect senses. In utter silence and profound loneliness, one can touch the hem of the divine purely through reason and perseverance. The cosmic measuring rod she forged still stretches across the Milky Way and distant galaxies, precise and merciful forever. Our story tonight draws to a gentle close. May Henrietta's calm inner strength become the soft comfort beside your pillow. Deep within your dreams, you may cross light years to meet the woman who guarded the starlight in solitude. Now close your eyes, steady your breath, and let your consciousness drift with those gentle variable stars into the tranquility of deep navy night. Good night.